Okay, so now you know how to style divs inline, and particularly so that you can have three divs of equal width across the page, so three columns. And you also have seen the power of Bootstrap. And what I mean by that is, it's not too hard to style these divs so that they're three equal parts across the screen. However, you can see that as it gets smaller, we have no responsive nature, so it stays the same. They're still one third, one third, one third, and it looks bad. And the power of Bootstrap is that we can easily just, instead of have to styling them ourselves, is say column small 4 in each of these, and then once it gets to that screen size of small, instead of continually getting smaller and smaller, it would pop to that they're each on their own line. So Bootstrap brings that responsive nature to us, and you can see the power of Bootstrap. You know how to style divs and make them display in line now and have three even columns. And what I also want to show you is how to nest columns in Bootstrap. So I'm going to delete these up here, delete these, and let's see what the heck I mean by nest columns. So we have a grid system. Boom, boom, boom. We have nesting columns right here. So this is what they mean by nesting columns. So you make columns within columns. You see how this is a column of 9, and then within it you have two equal columns, and so 6, 6, which are each half of 12. So the 12 isn't the full screen or the full container, but the 12 column system that Bootstrap is built on is based on the parent element. So this level 1 right here, when you do column medium 2 for each of the level 2 divs, they're 6 columns wide of this level 1 width, so not of the container. So let's see this in action. Let's go back over here to the About page. And the About page, we floated this image to the left. But now we know that Bootstrap is doing that to us, or for us. So what we could do here is, instead of floating that image to the left, let's look at this column here. So this column is, or I'm sorry, this div right here has a column width of, or a width of 10 columns, okay? So it's about 808 pixels. Well, to me, just looking at this off the top of my head, that image looks like it's about 1/4 of the width of that About div right there. So instead of floating that image to the left, what we could do is let Bootstrap handle it for us. So let's go over to our code here. And we said this image is about 1/4 of this column up here. So remember, we're not trying to find 1/4 of 10, that'd be 2.5. What we're trying to just say is that we want this image to be 1/4 of this div, the parent div's width. And it's based on a 12 grid system, so 1/4 is 3 columns wide. So what we do, nice and simple, is just like we did up here. Div class row. So now these two, well, what we're going to eventually do right here, let me close this out. So this H1 and this image are on their own row now, okay? And then we said that image is what, 1/4? So div class equals column, we'll just keep it medium since up here is medium, MD actually, let's go small, because once we get down to the small devices and this styling right here goes away, and it's now the full 12 columns wide, I still want this image to be 1/4 of the width of the About page, which at that time, once it gets to small, will be the width of the container. So we're going to go small, and we'll say 3, and then come down here, and we want image to be right here. There, and we'll make the other div class column small 9. Indent that. All right, and let's move this over here. And we also need to take away the float, because we don't need that anymore, of the image. So let's look at what we got here. All right, now this image, so it stays. So see, you can see that this main, this first paragraph right here, this ID of about, is still offset by 1 and has a column, that's 10 columns wide on the 12 column grid system. But once we hit to those small devices, pop. Now this about is the same width as container. Okay. And the medium and up, it's 10 columns of containers, 12 columns of width. Does that make sense? But however, now we're in these small devices. This row that we did here, since their columns small, this image still says 1/3 of, or I'm sorry, 1/4, 3 columns wide of this row right here. And then goes all the way till we get to extra small, and then it pops to its own line. So what we should probably do here is, what I want to do is, once we get to extra small on the styling, so let's make sure we have our numbers right, but I think extra small is max 767. So max 767, and we want, what was it? It was about image, and actually about H1. We want them both to go text-align center. And I think I know what the problem here is. It's not about image, but we want so the reason why is the image has no text, but the parent element of the image, text align center image, is an inline element of the parent element, so we need to put that on the parent element. So what we can do is we can just say ID, or here we would say class, we'll say extra small center. Dot extra small center and about H1. Reload it one more time. I forgot to save this. Sorry about that. Go over here. There we go. And the only other thing we can do is we can fix this sticky footer here. So once it gets to a max width of 767, we can go dot sticky footer, and we can say position static, and that should fix it. So now that we're in a small, and that sticky footer stays at the very bottom. Awesome. So we got a nice little responsive look on that page. And we've seen how to nest columns. We've seen how to make our own divs display in line. And next we're going to get into some more cool stuff with background properties as we finish off this home page. But just to let you know, if you understand this div stuff, this is some of the most complex stuff you'll ever see in HTML and CSS. So don't worry if you're not understanding it. Keep working with it. And congratulations, guys. We're just going through this nice and fast. And next we'll be on to home and we'll deal with background properties.